So it's time to pick out your wedding ring. If you're like many of the men in my life, then you might have never worn a ring before. So how do you pick out the ring you're going to wear for the rest of your life? Well, let's break down some of the options and the things to consider when picking the perfect wedding ring for you. The biggest decision is going to be choosing your metal. We have gold, we have platinum, we have tungsten, we have meteorite. There are so many options. If you're considering going for gold, there are 3 different color variations. You could do yellow gold, which is such a traditional and classic look. You could go white gold, which is a little bit more modern and sleek. And the rhodium plating on white gold gives it that silvery color. You can go for rose gold, which is mixed with copper to give it that pinky color and has a very romantic feel. Platinum is one of my favorites. It is a premium choice. It is extremely durable and hypoallergenic. Platinum develops a really beautiful patina over time, meaning that the metal kind of moves and creates this matte finish, but you're not losing any metal, which again is why I said it's really durable. Tungsten is one of the hardest metals available. It is really great for someone who likes to work with their hand. It also has a very naturally dark finish, so if you like that darker color on your hand, tungsten is a great option. Meteorite, yes, I said meteorite, is a really, really cool option because, well, it's meteorite. It has a super distinct pattern and each one can be different, so no 2 rings is gonna look identical. Another option I love is doing a mixed metal because who says you have to choose just one? I love mixed metal rings because each metal kind of has its own personality, and by combining these, you're kind of creating this whole net new personality, and I really love how that can speak to each individual person wearing their ring. Okay, and last but not least, and technically not a metal type, but diamonds and gemstones. There's a very high chance that your partner has diamonds or gemstones in their ring, so why not consider a little diamond or gemstone for yourself? Okay, now that we have a good understanding of metals, we need to choose our width. The width is how much coverage it's taking up on your finger. 2 millimeters is going to be a daintier ring. It's a very common size for an engagement ring. 3 millimeters is definitely going to be a little thicker than that, but I would still say is on the thinner side. The most common sizes I see are 4, 5, and 6 millimeters. 5 is really that sweet spot for not too thin, not too thick, but it very much depends on your individual finger. And if you want something a little thinner but not dainty, 4 millimeters is great. And maybe a little bit thicker but not crazy thick, 6 millimeters is a great option. Once you get into 7 or 8 millimeters, you're definitely going for something intentionally thicker. 9 millimeters and over, you want something that stands out and that is taking up a lot of finger coverage. Okay, it's important to talk about the band's style, which includes the finish and the design. There's definitely that classic band. It's slightly rounded, it has a very classic look, it's often high polish, which means it's shiny, and it's just a really good go-to if you want something that will literally never go out of style. Maybe you don't like the shiny, or you want something just a tiny bit different. You could get a matte finish, which will not be as shiny, have that classic look, but a totally less reflective finish. One of my personal favorites is a beveled edge. It adds just a little bit of personality with its angled edge, giving it a slight architectural feel, but overall is still very subtle. If you want a lot of texture, there are tons of different finishes, but one really popular one is doing a hammered finish. So literally, if you think about hammering the ring, you have a bunch of different unique surface patterns all along the ring. If you like the rustic or nature-inspired feel, then you might love a hammered ring. There's so many designs beyond that. Think twisting and turning, and again, diamonds and gemstones. So don't be afraid to play around and try lots of different things. Okay, last but not least, getting your ring size right. This is so important because so many people I know lose their wedding band in the first couple of months wearing it. Since a lot of people aren't used to wearing rings, it's important to know that you do want it to be kind of hard to take off. You don't want it to willy-nilly slide off. Otherwise, you might lose it. You can get sized in one of our showrooms, or you can use our really easy step-by-step guide, which we will link for you. There are so many different combinations of the different styles, finishes, widths, metals that we talked about, and honestly, there's so much more. You can browse online and even filter by these categories. So if you know you want 4mm width, and gold. You can see all of the options within that filter range. Or if you're open to them all, you can just scroll and scroll. There are so many good different options. If you don't know what's going to look best on your hand, you can definitely visit one of our showrooms. Trying things on can be super helpful for decision making, and our team is happy to help you try on different metals, different widths, different styles, etc., etc. So if you're shopping for a wedding ring, congratulations. We are so excited to help you along in this journey. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye!